If you open your eyes and look around, the world seems to be getting pretty insane. Pretty soon, there won't be anywhere left for Anthony Bourdain to visit without getting shrapnel in his quinoa. Countless countries seem to be at war with other countries, or threatening war, or acting awkward when they're standing next to each other at urinals, comparing missile size. But here's the thing. 90% of the people of these countries are good-hearted human beings who just want to live in peace. Yet we're told we're supposed to hate, despise, and malign some group of people a world away. We're told that by the who run each country. Most Palestinian people are wonderful people. Most Israelis are wonderful people. The Iraqi people, the Iranian people, amazing humans if you sat and had a cup of tea with them. The Pakistanis or the Afghan people, Russians and Ukrainians, Americans and British, Turkish and Chinese people, the Cuban people, and whoever those tribes are who live in the Brazilian rainforest and shoot bows and arrows at the helicopters because they think they're sky goblins. If you weren't worried about your nation or your religion or the idiocy you heard on the news, having a bite to eat with any of these people would likely be beyond enjoyable. Yet we're told we want war, bombing, and battling, pumping insane amounts of money into the military-industrial complex. Right now, the idea of more war is as unpopular as getting a blind man to hot wax your private areas. But as neocon and weapons contractor boy toy Bill Kristol recently said, a war-weary public can be awakened and rallied. Indeed, events are right now doing the awakening. All that's needed is the rallying, and the turnaround can be fast. And Congress is always ready to rev up the old machine that carefully and skillfully turns taxpayer money into Lockheed Martin, KBR, and Boeing money. Our military-industrial complex is the largest money laundering scheme in human history. You know those silly machines at the highway rest stops where you put the penny in the machine and then you turn a crank and then it spits out a smashed penny with the Statue of Liberty imprinted on it? You know the ones I'm talking about usually has a line 10 deep of fat-faced tourists with ice cream running down their cheeks? These wars are like that machine, except instead of a penny, they take trillions of dollars, they load it into one side of the machine, Congress turns the crank, and then out the other side pops money with Halliburton or Blackwater stamped on the face. The only difference between the two machines is that the one at the rest stop rarely kills hundreds of thousands of people. Sure, there was that one time in Utah where the kid got his head caught in there, but that's rare, and in a Darwinian sense, he deserved it. As Howard Zinn once said, America does not have democracy when it comes to foreign policy. The majority of Americans are against these wars. We don't want them, we don't vote for them, we don't want to see kids die for them. But Congress predictably turns that crank like the good little organ grinder monkeys they are. In place of our vote on war, we the people are handed a little yellow ribbon. When we take that ribbon, we tie it around our eyes. It should come with a ball gag, too. A support the troops ball gag. All right? And if you take it out, people go, "You don't support the troops!" Point is, 90% of the people of this world are wonderful human beings who want peace. 9.9% are douchebags. And the last 0.1% are the douchebags who run the world and scream that we must always be at war. And I made those numbers up, but they still mean something. Coming to you from Washington, D.C., this is Redacted Tonight. All right, welcome. How you doing, audience? Wow, you guys sound festive tonight. You sound like almost 15 people. I'm your host, Lee Camp. Now let's take the news from behind. Impressive news from Rialto, California, where 2 years ago they outfitted every police officer with small body cameras that recorded every interaction. And now the numbers are in. Use of force by the officers has fallen 60%, and complaints against officers is down nearly 90%. A funny thing happens when you turn video cameras on cops. They act morally. More empathetic. They're slower to anger and slower to beat the living snot out of a great-grandmother on her wedding day. What? It's never too old to get married. It makes sense because everybody acts differently under scrutiny. For example, right now, I have pants on. This is solely because there are cameras on me. No, that's actually not true. I don't have pants on. But you get the point. And maybe it's time we put the scrutiny on the powerful abusing their power rather than on the rest of us. This is one of those great ideas happening in one city that should then be happening in every city. Another example of this is in Utah, where they calculated the cost of emergency room and jail visits of each homeless person. It averaged over $16,000 per year. But the cost to give each of those people their own apartment, free of charge, and a caseworker to help them get back on their feet, only $11,000 a year. So in order to save a great deal of taxpayer money, Utah is giving every homeless person their own place. Chronic homelessness has decreased 74% over the past 8 years, and Utah is expected to end homelessness by 2015. We need to take great ideas and spread them throughout the country, rather than just going, oh, Seattle passed a $15 minimum wage, whatever, Nirvana's overrated. We should use our cities like a buffet of good ideas. Rialto's police cameras, Salt Lake City's homeless solution, Portland, Oregon's professional cuddlers, Mobile, Alabama's people movers, right? They're doing very inventive things with moving large masses of people, or people of large mass. We should take the great things from each city and spread it like jam or herpes, Pretty soon we'll have nationwide herpes jam. Isn't that exciting? Which, by the way, never sells well at my farmer's market kiosk. Never does. I'm a Renaissance man. I have many hobbies. Quick note, that Portland, Oregon professional cuddler I mentioned, real thing. Business Insider reported on Samantha Hess, who cuddles with people for $60 an hour, making $7 grand a month. And no, it's not sexual. It's strictly weird. But this is capitalism at its best, right? Hess discovered an opening in the market, offered a service that others needed, and supply met demand. Boom, cuddle time. Of course, if you follow this to its logical free market conclusion, larger corporate cuddle enterprises will pop up offering cut rate $10 cuddling with their platoons of illegal immigrant cuddlers willing to cuddle and/or snuggle for almost nothing because they just need a job. And then Samantha Hess will find herself offering free cuddles to vagrants out on a damn sidewalk simply for the exposure. I feel like I took that to a cynical place. We turn now to Wikipedia, the world's information superstore. Wikipedia can tell you everything from what the Higgs boson particle is to when the War of 1812 was. And if you don't like when it took place, you can change that. But correspondent Sam Sachs has discovered something fishy is going on at Wikipedia. Something fishy indeed.
Hello?
You're looking for 143-231-249-138? Tonight, alley on K Street, by the dumpster.
Three, two, one. Staffers on Capitol Hill are under extra scrutiny by Wikipedia this week after it was found that a certain congressional IP address was making erroneous edits. Those edits were discovered by a Twitter account known as @CongressEdits that used a complex algorithm to track and document any anonymous changes to Wikipedia made from congressional IP addresses. One IP stood out in particular, 143-231-249-138. According to Wikipedia, a number of edits originating from this IP address were disruptive. You see, Wikipedia has this quirk, or I should say, fundamental flaw, which is that anyone can edit it. Like anyone. Like all these people. Like even that guy way over there. So the very thing that makes Wikipedia so far-reaching and influential, its crowdsourcing, is also what makes it so vulnerable to manipulation. PR companies have bombarded the site with edits whitewashing negative information about corporate clients. And back in 2006, congressional staffers were accused of making conflict of interest edits to Wikipedia articles about their bosses. But this time the edits are different, which is why I had to find out exactly who 143-231-249-138 really is. So far, this is what we know. At nearly 11 p.m. on Friday, July 11th, user 143-231-249-138 edits Congressman Justin Amash's Wikipedia bio, changing the congressman's previous profession from corporate lawyer to attorney. Seemingly innocuous change until you look at what comes next. A 10-day orgy of Wikipedia edits, informing us that the assassination of John F. Kennedy was carried out on behalf of Fidel Castro, that Princess Diana was actually a skilled sharpshooter with a 12-gauge shotgun, plus user 143-231-249-138 was caught making changes to articles on Freemasonry, the TV show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and the Choco Taco. And then...
Just this week, I was notified that my Wikipedia page had been edited from American journalist to Russian propagandist.
Yes, user 143-231-249-138 went after sledgehammer-wielding TV show host Abby Martin, too. So might she hold the key to unlocking this mystery? Abby, do you have any enemies? Anybody you think who would do something like this?
Enemies. The Bush administration, there's Monsanto, the Nestle Corporation has a big problem with me. Let's see, Lawrence O'Donnell, Carrot Top, Boko Haram, the Economic Department at Florida State University. Look, I even had a feud once with Ayn Rand's corpse.
I had a lead, enemies of Abby Martin. So I began frequenting dark corners of the internet, where the trolls live, dropping coded messages that included the ingredients of Choco Taco, all with the hope that maybe, somewhere out there, is user 143-231-249-138. And then...
You're looking for 143-231-249-138? Dumpster, tonight. Be there.
All right, is that on? Is it on? Are we good? All right. He told us to meet him by the dumpster. Is this him? Did you see him? Is that him coming this way? John?
Hello, Sam.
What's going on here? Did you catfish me?
Of course not. I'd never do that to you. I just pretended online that I was somebody that I wasn't in order to lure you here.
That's the definition of catfishing.
What, like the animal?
What? No.
Well, I saw you all week. You were looking at all the Choco Taco message boards and all sorts of things. I was just wondering, you got any, man?
Do I have any what? Choco Tacos?
Yeah, Choco Tacos. They've been sold out for like a 20-mile radius. I've been looking every place. If I have to suffer through one more strawberry shortcake bar, I'm gonna lose it, man.
It was there, in that alley, listening to John rant about Choco Tacos, that I realized something. It's about truth. In the old days, they said that history was written by the victors. Today, I realize history is just written by Victor. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Sam Sachs and John F. O'Donnell, redacted tonight.
Sam Sachs, everybody. All right, we need to go to break in a second so that I can put my pants back on. But before we do, we want to show you the making of an advertisement for Northrop Grumman. They're the weapons contractor that are helping to normalize drones in our skies by showing ads during sporting events. We're going to show you first part of a real commercial I saw during a baseball game.
At Northrop Grumman, we've always been on the forefront of innovation. When the world called for speed, when the world called for stealth.
We dug a little deeper and actually found the making of one of those ads. Check this out.
Hello, we're Northrop Grumman, and we've got all sorts of drones available for you. New drones, old drones, shiny drones, rusty drones, not to be confused with the rusty trombones. 100% guaranteed to be unmanned, no hands, blam blam. Holy shit, man. Purchase one today and we'll throw in a map of all the countries you can bomb.
Hold on. That was great. Let's try one little less used car salesman-y, little more laid back.
Yeah. I smell what you're cooking. How about this?
Ooh, baby, we're Northrop Grumman, baby. And if we got a drone for you, oh yeah, it's so stealthy and sleek and smooth and lubed up. Oh, Lockheed Martin can suck a big fat.
Okay, that's probably not gonna work. Let's just do one just normal, just straightforward.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
We're Northrop Grumman. We've been creating flying death machines for a long time. In fact, we're the 4th biggest defense contractor in the world. In addition to bombers and drones, our company prides itself on creating missile systems and radar surveillance systems. Can you imagine the number of people we've helped kill?
No, not like honest, normal. Just can you make Northrop Grumman not seem awful?
Oh, man. Woo! Yay! Hooray, balloons! I'm flying! Yay!
Welcome back! How you guys doing? All right! Wow, I'd say you sound like 17 people. The meth kicked in. The Intercept reported this week on leaked documents finally showing what it takes to get on the government's terrorist watch list. The watch list before 9/11 consisted of 16 names. Now it contains tens of thousands, the vast majority of which have nothing to do with terrorism and have probably never even met someone involved in terrorism. CBS reported that the watch list included people like Bolivian President Evo Morales and notorious terrorist Mikey Hicks. Mikey is an 8-year-old Boy Scout, I'm not kidding, who began being patted down at airports at the age of 2. All right, Mikey, put down the weapon. Oh, yeah, it's a sippy cup. Yeah, isn't that what a terrorist would say? This watch list, which has increased greatly under Obama, is the definition of insanity. All you have to do to get on it is possibly be someone who might have talked with someone who might have given off the impression that he'd be interested in terrorism, or have the same name as someone like that. And not only will you be on this watch list, but it can make it hard to get a job and hard to remain out of jail. Think about it. A cop pulls you over in Iowa for speeding and sees you're on the terrorist watch list because you once sold a My Little Pony lunchbox to Mikey Hicks. My Little Pony is for boys too, all right? The Iowa cops then have a procedure they follow, which is like this. Step 1, themselves, all right? Step 2, draw their guns. Step 3, themselves again, all right? Keep in mind, it recently came out that the FBI has been directly involved in most high-profile U.S. terror plots. That's right, most of the terror plots you've heard about, the FBI helped create so that they could then thwart them and then run around saying, "We stopped a terror attack!" It's not far off from telling all your friends you slept with a supermodel, but really you just humped a stuffed animal. So you take these two reports together, and it means you could be on a terrorist watch list simply because you have the same name as someone who shared a few phone calls with a guy who was told by an undercover FBI agent that he should have an interest in terrorism or eco-terrorism, which can consist of just setting fire to an SUV, or emo-terrorism, which can consist of just tickling a goth kid. This is completely out of control. It would be like getting a devastating STD because you had the same name as a guy who talked to a guy who humped a stuffed animal. We move now to some great news, actually, that could possibly be truly dreadful news. Last month, a quadriplegic man became the first paralyzed person to move his limbs using only his thoughts. The system that doctors connected to 23-year-old Ian Burkhart combined a computer chip implanted inside his brain with a sleeve that transmitted electrical pulses to his hand. This device means paralyzed people will one day have their regular lives back. That's incredible. Now the bad news. Please tell me the Koch brothers will die of old age before we get to the brain in a jar stage of technology. Please, please. Think about it. They could just put their evil brain in a pickle jar, or actually probably more of a gefilte fish jar because it has all that slimy stuff in there. And then the computer chip in the brain can operate some sort of zombie-like body that's walking around just being an asshole. The Koch brothers will live forever. And since it'll probably cost $1 billion to do that, the super evil billionaires will be the first. Ain't gonna be no vegan hippies ponying up the cool billion for the brain jar, all right? We have to run out the clock before this happens. Can somebody please get the Koch brothers to pick up chain smoking or extreme cliff diving or ultimate fighting or something before it's too late? And that concludes a segment I like to call, I'm Only Half Kidding. quick side note for those of you wondering, my brain in a gefilte fish jar does sell better than my herpes jam at the farmer's market, all right? But just barely. Another quick side note, herpes jam, the original name of the band Kiss. Yeah. Bet you didn't know that. And now we move to what might be the most pressing issue in the world, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The violence seems to only be escalating, and here to provide an analysis of the media's response is senior Middle East correspondent John F. O'Donnell. How you doing, John?
Honestly, I'm not sure if we should be talking about this, man.
What do you mean? You're our senior Middle East correspondent.
Yeah, I know I am. I'm qualified. I've read books. But bad things happen to reporters who talk about this issue, Lee.
What do you mean?
Well, just look at Rula Jabril. She was a respected MSNBC contributor who called out the mainstream media for having a pro-Israel bias, and then all of a sudden, all of her scheduled TV appearances were canceled. Boom.
Oh, right, I remember that. She pointed out that between June 30th and I think July 10th, CNN had 17 various Israeli public officials on air and 1 Palestinian.
Yeah, she managed to get 1 more appearance on Chris Hayes' show, but they changed her title from MSNBC contributor to Palestinian journalist. If I really get into this, I have no idea what's going to happen to me.
John, that's just one example. It doesn't mean anything. I'm sure you're going to be fine.
I don't know, man. I just get really nervous about these things. Look there. My title just changed.
That is
Palestinian spokesperson.
That is kind of weird, but it sounds like a promotion, right? I don't know if you're qualified to be a spokesperson for anyone.
No, I'm not. Remember when I did that Capital One ad? It was a total train wreck. What's wrong with you people? You're just profit werewolves eating the world. What's in your wallet? Oh, I don't know. A lifetime of enslavement to debt? Yeah!
Yeah, I remember that. I'm the one that bailed you out. But anyway, back to the Israeli invasion of Gaza. What else can you tell us? Come on.
Can we just talk about the woman in Portland who cuddles with people?
I already covered that.
Fine. Over 1,200 Palestinians have been killed, hundreds of them children, and 56 Israelis have been killed. Israel receives $3 billion a year in military aid from the U.S., while 1.8 million Palestinians in Gaza live in extreme poverty. Most of them only get clean water for 3 hours every 3 days. Are you happy, Lee? Jesus!
Actually, Jesus doesn't have anything to do with this one, which is kind of a relief, I feel like.
Human rights groups have described Gaza as being an open-air prison. It really is. Oh, it happened again. Senior Jew hater? I don't hate Jews. I'm Jewish. My mother's maiden name is Leibowitz. I went to Hebrew school. I had a bar mitzvah. This is the type of slander that the irony with this one is I do hate myself, but just not for being Jewish.
John, it's going to be all right, buddy, all right? We're going to get through this. Let's talk more about the biased mainstream media coverage, all right? Have there been other incidents?
Sure. I mean, NBC pulled renowned journalist Ayman Moyeldin out of Gaza after he reported on an Israeli airstrike that murdered 4 Palestinian children. And most recently, David Gregory was called out by a UN official on Meet the Press.
Yeah, I think we have that clip, don't we?
The Israeli government has released videotape, and I realize you cannot see this video, that purports to show rockets being fired from a UN school. Is this accurate?
Look, to be fair to me, to bring me on a live program and expect me to comment live on air on pictures I haven't actually seen, I think anyone looking at this program would agree that that's really unfair.
So it does, and then at the end of the program, he admitted that that probably wasn't what those videos were. But it does seem like Israel gets the benefit of the doubt, and Palestine is guilty until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, plus barely anybody in the media whatsoever is covering a possible reason this invasion is even happening. Israel desperately wants to exploit the Gaza marine gas field that belongs to the Palestinian people. If this field is developed, it will yield revenues of $6 to $7 billion a year.
And even if that's not all the story, it's certainly part of it. Well done, John. I'm impressed. You did some research. You know, you've come a long way since your Capital One days.
Thank you. I mean, it's an important issue. People on both sides are suffering. You know, plus, the UN calls Gaza a military occupation, and before he passed away, Nelson Mandela called Israel an apartheid state. Oh, no.
You all right? Nothing happened. You're okay. Nothing happened.
Oh, come on! I love my mom's potato cook-o. Why couldn't we just talk about that hugging business like I wanted to? I went and filmed stuff and everything.
You did?
Yeah, just show it. My career's over.
So, what do you think of the Israeli invasion of Gaza?
John F. O'Donnell, everybody! All right, these are your news headlines from the future. Let's see. Next Monday, you'll read this headline: FBI unable to stop emo terrorist Avril Lavigne from dropping song on major American city. It's pretty devastating. On Wednesday, this will shock the nation: professional cuddler sues anyone involved in human contact for trademark infringement. I knew she wasn't in it for the cuddles. It was profit all along. And finally, next week, the New York Times will reveal America's head caught in military-industrial complex. I think we have an image of that, don't we? All right, and that is your unredacted news. This episode will be up any minute at youtube.com/RTAmerica and on Hulu and leecamp.net. If you're curious about our source articles for this stuff, go to facebook.com/redacted tonight to get those. Good night and keep fighting! All right, good show, everybody. Good show.